with that, I would love to bring up the director and co-writer of The Hero, Mr. Brett Haley, right here. He's going to say a few words.
All right, yeah, man.
You've never been played on before.
All right. It was so funny, I was just bitching about critics, and I was like, oh yeah, critics put on this festival.
I thought he was bitching. I thought you were being ironic.
I was. I really was. I love critics very much. I really do, actually. Thank you guys for coming out on Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. There's a good mom in this movie and a not so good dad, so I feel like it's sort of fitting. I wrote this with my co-writer Mark Bash for Sam Elliott, and about, I think something as a love letter to Sam. So hopefully you like Sam Elliott, because there's a lot of him in this movie. And if you don't like Sam Elliott, you should probably just leave now. Because, there's the doors. I'm about to leave as well, so you can just come hang out with me and have a drink. But I'll be back for a Q&A. I'd love to talk to you guys about the film. And I'm super excited to be here in this beautiful theater. And yeah, enjoy the movie. I'll see you after the show for a Q&A. Thank you.
Hey, sounds like you guys liked it. Let's bring Brett back. Oh, you're here. Bring Brett. Brett Haley, everyone, the director. So you had worked with Sam on your last film, or your previous film, and so what were some of the things, you wrote this for him, but what were some of the things about Sam that you wanted to get into this character, and then what were some things that were not part of his essence that you wanted to introduce, because it might be interesting to watch him play that?
I just want to see a bunch of close-ups of his beautiful face. No, I think Sam is like just an incredible actor. Like, that's what I realized when I was making I'll See You in My Dreams. I was like, man, this guy is so good, so natural, like doesn't put anything on. And I just remember being really taken by him as an actor on set, but then we got to hang out when we were promoting the film. And we got drunk a few times together, and I was like, man, this guy's amazing, like as a human being. Like, I just loved him. And people, I think, he is a man's man. He is that tough guy that you kind of think of when you think of Sam Elliott, but he's also he's a big sweetie. He's a big, vulnerable, emotional, open guy. And I was like, I want to see that side of him. I think I showed him as a romantic guy. Everybody's doing that now, but I started doing that with him, at least. I mean, he can do anything, but I was like, I want to see him be vulnerable and open and funny, and I mean, he gets to be everything in this. He gets to be on drugs and yell at somebody and make love to Laura Prepon. He's a lucky guy.
Was he at all hesitant to play a fading actor? He's not a fading actor at all. I mean, he's busy constantly, but
yeah, there's clear differences between him and Lee. No, he wasn't. I think he was nervous about it, but he wasn't hesitant. No, he jumped right in. I think because we had the relationship that we had, that made it a lot easier. If I was somebody he didn't know, I think it would have been a tougher thing.
I will admit, it's strange seeing him on a cell phone. Like, I can't remember ever seeing him on a cell phone and like fighting for a part or just like, or talking to him. It's like modern day. He seems like a timeless guy, but to see him attached to something that has a definite...
I don't know anybody that's not attached to their fucking cell phone. Yeah, I know. So, I mean, that's just part of living. That's just part of being in this right now. You have to, in storytelling, unless you're doing a period piece, that phone is a part of it. You're texting, you're calling, you're really just texting, probably. I mean, it's weird. Sam does not email, though, so he's old school in that way. The man still gets his scripts faxed to him. I stole that from Sam. Actually, Offerman improvised that based on reality. But the reality was that, he gets his stuff faxed to him still. So.
I feel like you told me that he learned to text while they were making this?
No. I was saying that he texts a lot.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's why I could write that in comfortably because I text with Sam every day.
Right.
So
I wrote down a quote that Nick said when I interviewed him about Sam on the phone. He said he does use a cell phone, but it's powered by beef tenderloin. So,
Offerman, he's the man.
I wrote down a few. I interviewed these guys, Offerman and Austin. So I have a few choice Offerman quotes to just throw in. Just it's like we're gonna.
It's like he's here.
One day we're gonna get him here.
Next year we'll get him here.
Next year we have a plan. Okay. But you did say that he also uses emojis now, Sam, which is sort of a secret. So don't spread that around. But again, Offerman quote. He didn't want that to get around that he used emojis, but the only emojis he uses are the cactus and the tumbleweed. So you can spread that around. Let me see here. Oh, and Sam doesn't actually do drugs, right? He doesn't smoke weed or anything. So, So you said you wanted to see him. Is that part of the thing? You wanted to see him do it because he doesn't do it, or because you thought he just?
I mean, I think each drug has its own in this film has its own sort of reason for being there. So it was specific. I think it wasn't like. I mean, it is funny to see like actors or characters that you love do drugs. I think. But the marijuana is very specific to him being in a cloud and escaping and trying to keep kind of that distance. And I mean, everything has its reason. But I guess, yeah, there was a part of me that was like, I want to see Sam Elliott do a bunch of drugs in my movie. But I think drugs are like really interesting if you use them smartly. They could be a very interesting narrative device and really help put characters or make characters do things that they normally wouldn't do. And I always liked that about that.
So, is there something particularly fascinating about an actor worried about his legacy?
Oh yeah,
and just being remembered for one thing that they did decades ago.
Yeah, I keep talking. We're so hard on our actors in our world. We're so hard on them. We love them. And we said, we love you as that person when you did that one character. And then when they try to do anything else, we're like, no. We liked you as that one character. What are you trying to do something else for? And then if they get too old or whatever, it's like, we're done now. We're good. No, but I still act. I can still, no, we like this new person more. And I think that it's really tough, I think. I think it's tough to put yourself out there, to be at the height of your career. A lot of people, when they get nominated for an Academy Award, it's like it hits, like just drops. It's very weird. I'm fascinated by that. As an artist, I'm fascinated by legacy, just in a selfish way. Like, oh, well, what will people say about my work after I'm gone? Well, who cares? It doesn't matter. You know, that's what the movie's really about. It's like this meditation on like, well, yeah, that's important, but also it's not important. You know, just do what you love. But I do think that we're too hard on our actors, and I do think we like to put actors and filmmakers and artists in general into a box. And anytime they try to step out of that box, critics, no offense, and audience or other people say, no, get back in the box. Get back where we're comfortable with you. And I try to do that with all my films, you know. It's like I love seeing Offerman like this and not just Ron Swanson. He can do anything. He's one of the best actors I've ever worked with. And he's so thankful for Ron Swanson. He loves that. But, you know, he's more than that. And Laura's more than that 70s show and Orange is the New Black. And Catherine Ross is more than Butch Cassidy and The Graduate. And Sam is more than, you know, Tombstone and The Big Lebowski. They're just more than that, you know? And Kristen Ritter is going to prove everybody she's more than Jessica Jones. It's just the way that we like to compartmentalize. But I hope it's changing. And certainly every time I get to cast a film, I try to put people in roles that you maybe wouldn't expect.
I was going to say, that Nick definitely, at a certain point, not anymore, I don't think. I think he's done enough films now that he's shown that he's got this incredible range, but that he was in danger of getting really pigeonholed for the rest of his career.
I mean, it can happen. I think he's been really smart about it. Yeah. But I think, you know, again, it's like, that's the kind of legacy I'm interested in, sort of that and that kind of thing.
And yet that moment of that Sam's character, that Lee gets that admiration in front of that group, I feel like that means something to
it's
him.
got
like
to,
that he really takes that to heart, even though he's tripping. But yeah, like
Yeah, no, I think you've got to. It's a double-edged sword. The love is great, even if they love you for the one thing, the love is still really. It's hard to be mad at that.
Yeah. I mean, this may sort of relate to what my first question, but I mean, Sam is married, and he has a good in real life, has a good relationship with his daughter, and a thriving career still. This is sort of his and yet this does have that feeling of there, but for the grace of God. Feeling that this could just have easily been his life. Do you think that was sort of foremost in his mind doing that?
I would think so, yeah. I mean, it's a fictionalized take on Sam, but I think we can see you can't make a movie with Sam Elliott playing an actor and not talk about his voice, not talk about that he's a perfect cowboy. It's like it's hard not. So I think we play on what he's known for, but we also took him to a completely fictional place.
I love the pairing those two scenes where he's reading lines with Offerman, primarily because for a brief shining moment you get to see that character act.
Yeah, you can see Lee Hayden act.
And they clearly have a trust, because I don't think you could just read lines with anybody.
Well, Nick's character is an actor too.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's what I mean. Like
they're both actors, and they both get wrapped up in it, and you get to see that Lee Hayden is a good actor. He can do the movie star thing. He could be that guy.
Even with
galactic,
even with crappy dialogue like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible dialogue. I wrote it. I know. I mean, I wrote it to be crappy, to be fair. But I mean, I remember that day shooting that scene and everybody on set going like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, he's taking this and spinning it into gold. And it was, I mean, that's Sam. Sam still got that movie star quality. He's still got that big genre movie thing in him, that bone in him.
And then to follow that up with that hard to watch audition scene it's amazing. Like that's that's the Oscar clip. That's
one of those I would.
One of those, or both of them. Yeah.
Show them back to back. Just take a 5-minute break in the Oscars and show them both.
Exactly. So, okay, I'm going to ask one more question, but we have a microphone here in the aisle. Please line up over here, ask some questions. The romance is also, I mean, nothing about this guy's life is simple, but the romance is complicated because at a certain point he's not sure if she likes him or is using him as source material. Talk about that. That's I don't think I've ever seen like a romance quite like even between an older man and a younger woman. It's that she might actually be using him to a certain degree.
Yeah,
it's a nice twist.
Yeah, I think it was like really scary territory for me. It's my first film that I've made about a man. All of my other films have centered on women as the protagonist. And I remember I was at a Q&A recently, and someone was like, when is somebody gonna make the movie like this, but for the female equivalent? And I said, 2015, brother, I already made that movie. It's called I'll See You in My Dreams. But no, I mean, I think, this idea that you're going to do the cliche of an older man and a younger woman, and how Hollywood has just abused that to a degree that's uncomfortable because they never bring it up. It's just, oh yeah, of course that person, this person are going to get together because they're the two movie stars we got financing on or foreign value on or whatever. I think that's bullshit, but I wanted to investigate a relationship of a really weird age difference, because I think we also judge all relationships that are different really harshly. We see anybody who is with someone that doesn't look like we're like, whoa, what's going on? And it's constant. So I wanted to do it, but I wanted, an actor like Laura Prepon, she's holding all the strings in that relationship. She's making all the decisions. I would hope that not for a second someone would think that she's like just kind of like arm candy or something. She's so much more than that. And yeah, it is complicated. It is weird. It is, if you go back and watch the movie again, everything's there. He asks her because he's desperate she goes with him because, yeah, it's probably going to be a pretty funny story, and it is a funny story, but there are some, you know, feelings that get caught up in that. So we've tried. I mean, look, it scared me a lot, that relationship, but you can't make a movie unless you're scared a little bit about something.
Okay, yes.
Partially by design. No, right at the beginning of the movie, obviously, Sam's voice is so transporting and almost distracting to me. Like in the first few minutes, it's all I can think about. And so it occurred to me, do you have to do something different technically? Like his voice is so powerful. Do other actors have to adjust, or do you have to do something?
To me, it turns me on. So I have to like sort of try to not get so turned on. Yeah. I have to try to be professional on set. No, I don't. I mean, I think his voice is singular and it's amazing, but no, I think everybody, when you get used to it, let me put it that way. You got used to it by the end, right?
But yeah, I just wondered if really, like, if there was a sound.
No, I don't do anything to it. It's a natural wonder. I can't watch the movie anymore. I get too excited.
Hey, Brett.
Hi.
I really appreciated the screenplay. Really liked it.
Oh, thank you.
One of the things I really liked about it was there was never a scene where the daughter meets the girlfriend. And because I feel like that's been done before, and she would just be like, she's my age, Dad, or whatever.
Yeah, this is weird, man.
And was there anything like that, like those kinds of cliches that you wanted to avoid and just not keep it in there, or was it ever part of it and you just said, no, let's not do that?
I think my films play into and on cliche often. I think this film and I'll See You in My Dreams have cliche. But I think there is truth to cliche. So what I try to do is start or end or mess with it in the middle in a more honest and realistic way than maybe you've seen it 100 or 1,000 times. I think there is truth there, and I think you can't avoid it. And I'm not sitting here trying to spin a tale that you've never seen before. I'm trying to give you something that's effective, both as a piece of entertainment, but also as an emotional piece that hopefully you can connect with thematically and take it into your life and say, I was moved in some way, or it made me laugh, it made me cry, it made me think. I had somebody say it just made me call my parents. Like, that's cool. Cliche is not necessarily a dirty word. I think it's in the execution and how you go about telling your story. And if you just do the obvious thing, then everyone's like, well, I saw that, whatever. But surprising inevitability is great, and that's the key. So I always try to have, it's like, of course he's doing his voiceover commercials at the end or what, but you try to make it a surprising inevitability. Trust me, there are plenty of people that say this movie's just full of cliche.
Well, the sincerity is on the screen, so I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you for bringing your movie here for us to enjoy, without a doubt. I'm very curious, like you have a very arresting visual design, right? It seems like maybe you shot on 2 cameras at one point, but
I'm trying to think. Yeah, we shot the award ceremony 2 cameras. But that's the only scene we shot 2 cameras.
But I would just enjoy hearing a little bit more about your relationship with the director of photography and kind of how you work through creating this very arresting visual for us all to enjoy.
Yeah, Rob Givens, who shot I'll See You in My Dreams, he shot all my films. He and I have a very close relationship. We've been working together since film school, so since I was like 18. So we just know each other really well, and we had very specific, we knew exactly kind of what the inspirations were for this, what movies we were watching, and we knew we were going to be shooting a lot of handheld, but not like noticeable or shaky cam or something. And we knew what the color scheme was. You just kind of approach everything in its own way. There's a lot of close-ups in this movie. I'm a performance-driven guy, and I get taken by performance. And when I'm editing, I'm always looking for the best performance, and they're usually in the close-up. So if you shoot the close-up, the actor knows, and they're giving you the goods, So I put a lot of close-up in this movie, but I think it works for this film. It's a very subjective film. Back of the head, close-up, profile close-ups. You know, these long kind of looks at the ocean and things. We knew exactly what we were going for, and I'm super proud of Rob's work. It's his best work, and I'm super proud of him. Yeah.
Hi, thanks for being here.
Thanks.
I really enjoyed the lighthearted but also somber tone of the movie. It was really well done. My question is, I feel like I've seen a lot of movies recently about older men facing their own mortality, especially last night seeing Lucky as well. I guess my question is just, how would you personally describe Lee's unique response to his own mortality?
Yeah, I think this movie I hope is unique in the sense that, you know, it's about a guy who gets cancer, but it's not a cancer movie. It's not a movie about that process, about that journey. It's about that first week in which you find out you have something so terrible. How do you deal with it? Who do you tell? Like, do you rush out? I mean, I think people just assume people who get these really intense diagnoses or like basically death sentences just run out and tell everybody. Certainly people do. I think there are other people who need a beat. And Lee is certainly one of those people that needs like a long beat. He needs to really think about it. To me, that's a really interesting place to start a film. And it's not necessarily as much as what is the cancer going to do or not do to him, or what treatment is he going to do or not do. It's when do you start telling and who do you tell? And it's watching him try to deal with his past. Almost like subconsciously he's going back to his past and asking questions and saying, well, is that okay now? Can we talk? And they're like, no, what are you here for? And we know, but they don't know. So that to me is an interesting kind of on the mortality of it all. So I didn't want to make a film that was like, what chemo is he going to get? Is he going to do the Whipple procedure? Like, that's not for me to decide. I don't want to make a movie like that. I wanted to see that first little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm wondering if you had an extra week, either in pre-production, production, or post-production, in which stage would you use that extra week, and what would you do with it?
Whoa. Yeah, an extra week's a lot of money. We shot this movie in 18 days, so I guess I'd just be a little less crazed if I had 10 more days of shooting. But also if I had 10 more days of shooting, I think I'd be like, let's go. Like, I'm bored, you know? The pace is nice, you know? And I certainly didn't need 10 more days in post-production. The movie discovered, like, we found it and that was it, and more time would have been, you know. But I think anytime you have more time when you're shooting, you have more time to play. You have more time to, maybe I could have gone back and shot a scene again or something. There's scenes that I watch that I'm like, you know, if I would have done this in that way, that would have been so interesting. And, you know, maybe if you get 10 days, I think 10 days, reshoots. Like, reshoots is always a dirty word. It's not. It's like the most beautiful thing. Because you're working a movie out the whole time. Then you're like, you see the cut and you're like, ooh, if I could just go back and add this line and this moment or this scene to this. Oh, so that's where I take the 10 days, like going back after you've done everything, after the movie's done, and then go back and add little things and start. But that can also probably at some point you're just like, I'm done. It's over. The movie's done, and it belongs to you guys now, you know? Flawed films, it's okay. It's part of the process. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
All right, these are beginning our last ones here. No, go ahead. I mean, both of you, yeah. Go ahead.
Both of you are good.
Together, though.
So you
Yeah.
talked about nostalgia, right? And I think you and I can both agree that when we buy a DVD, we're purchasing a piece of nostalgia, of memory.
Sure.
And it's a wonderful thing that I noticed about your film is that Nick Offerman's character and Lee's character, they both own Rudy on DVD. Which
You got good eyes, man.
I'm just saying, my question is, how involved are you on the production side? You said you shot for less than 3 weeks. How are you involved in crafting a character with this stuff on the walls?
Well, a lot of that stuff is very specific. Certainly the stuff on the wall, you know, the design.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, when I need a wall of DVDs or VHS, it's whatever shows up. So the fact that you noticed there are two. I've seen this movie. I edited this film, and I haven't noticed that. So you got good eyes, man. I can tell you a couple ones that are in there, and I did rearrange some for Laura's shot. I was like, these movies suck next to Laura, so I like moved a bunch of movies like that I liked next to Laura, and everyone was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, we have a movie to make right now. And I was like, I know, but I don't know what fucking movie this is. I want Badlands here. So that's about the most I did. But you know, this idea that like movies are other people's dreams, that lovely thing, and seeing Laura next to all of those movies, that's planned. Stuff like that is planned. Yeah. And I'm sure at some point when I have more time, that 10 days, I could pick every single DVD. But on 18 days, it's like, just get them up there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Super simple questions. One, what was the budget of the film? And secondly, just maybe I missed it in the credits. I didn't catch it. But what did you shoot on? What was the camera?
So we shot on the Alexa, the Amira, mostly, and then we shot the regular Alexa for the dream sequences because those were all shot on anamorphic. And the budget, it was like, I mean, since we sold the movie, I can say this. Usually I don't like to answer that question. What do you think the budget was?
That's a dangerous question.
It's a dangerous question for me too, brother. I got a career I'm trying to build.
I'm gonna go 1.5.
You're close. It was less than that, but you're close.
He said 1.5. I said 1. But my buddy said 1.5.
Well, it's between those two. It's between the two. I think this obsession with, the budget thing is this, that the difference between a $1 and a $1.5 million movie is nothing. It's like, seriously, they're the same movie. And even a $500,000 movie and a $1.5 million movie, there's this whole range of low, because unions the more you get up, the more you get pushed down, and you have to pay union fees and dues, which is great, and I'm all for the unions, but other things go down. So when you're non-union and you got $500,000, you get to use that $500,000. It's not going to like pension plans. But when it's $1 million, a lot of that money's being used for that. So then suddenly everything that goes on screen is about the same. Dreams was like a really small film. It felt exactly the same to me as this. So there's a moment in which you jump, and that moment is probably like 6, 7 plus, maybe 5 plus, maybe. Anything under that, you're kind of dealing with the same stuff,
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so this film opens on the coasts on June 9th, and it'll probably be here in Chicago mid to late June, you're thinking? And so that means you've got well over a month to talk this up if you liked it.
Yeah.
Again, using any means of social media. Just tell everyone to go see it when it comes out.
We're on social media. It's The Hero Movie on Facebook. It's The Hero Movie on Instagram. The Hero Movie 17 on Twitter. Wow. So we're all over that stuff.
Cool.
The trailer's out there. You can share that. The poster, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm on that stuff.
So, Brett, thank you so much for coming to Chicago.
Oh, thanks for having me, Chicago. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Thanks for coming.
And Brett will be in the lounge afterwards, so we got to clear the theater for the next movie. But yeah, he'll be in there if you guys want to chat. And